raising Lazarus. There's the John 11th chapter from 1 till 44. I won't just read to you because I'm a slow reader. It will take me probably 25 minutes. I got only 20 minutes. Lazarus was the brother of Mary and Martha. And they were closest friends of Jesus. Lazarus' name in Hebrew means God has helped. And I find no coincidence in the Bible that the parents call him before knowing the outcomes of God's help in his amazing life. We are familiar with Hebrew, and it's very known Hebrew name David, that means beloved. It's not so common in Hebrew name Walter, but it means quick to joke. I don't know if you kind of agree with me, that'd be great. Brother Lazarus' sickness happened suddenly, not like I mentioned on our last gathering. And this is not coincidence that Brother Jack assigned me to this subject, because I spoke about Jesus and the rich man. The name wasn't mentioned, but that was most likely Lazarus. Lazarus came down with a name-graced sickness. And when his sister Mary and Martha realized condition, they sent to Jesus for help. And Jesus was preaching in the town when he got message from Lazarus, and he replied in verse 4. We read, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." In verse 4, and he stayed there for 2 more days. It's kind of strange. It seems like you call 911 and they say, please wait a couple of days, help is on the way. No. Yes, tomorrow. Yes, that's not. But there's one statement that Jesus was never late. He was always on time according to the God's clock. We read in verse 5 that Jesus stayed with the family. We know that he liked them and they liked Jesus. So we expect that the same what Lazarus' family expected, that Jesus would run fast and help Lazarus. But Jesus delayed to help Lazarus, and this is example for something bigger. And when Jesus got this information, he was about 30 miles from the place where they live, the Bethany. And his expression is significant. He said that this is not unto death, the sickness, but to the glory of God. So we may see that something very important will be shown in this performance. And we know that Martha and Mary believed in verse 23, as we read, Jesus said, "Thy brother shall rise again." And on this, Martha said, I know that he will shall rise again in the resurrection of the last day. So she believed in the same what Jewish woman believed, as we read in Hebrew 11:35. We read that woman received the back they dead, risen to life by faith. Of course, because there was no resurrection that time. Why Jesus stayed in another 2 days, we read this in verse 6. And the reason was to pronounce more this miracle. Someone may say, well, what are miracles? We see the fire trucks, we see emergency cars every time in our town. But brethren, I am familiar with CPR and the rescue process because in this year will be 50 years when I became the lifeguard. So I still got a little bit in my memory. And I remember that time is very important. They usually go from 4 minutes to 6 minutes, but never 4 days. And I remember the words which my teacher told me in those classes. He said that it's better to prevent than perform CPR, because sometimes you must be not successful. The time of 4 days. So Lazarus was definitely dead. So we may say that what Jesus did was mission impossible. But when you go on your computer and put IM spot, what does mean? I am possible with God. And that's what Jesus did. Jesus told the people to do what was possible for them. Take away the stone. I think if our team, Keith, Kerry, and myself will get together, maybe 20 years ago, we could move the stone using leverage. But Jesus did something what was for humans impossible. He lifted up his eyes and he said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I know that you always hearest me. I did it because of the people. And next he said with loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. A strong voice. That's how people will be awakened from death. A bit different names. They won't call me Lazarus, I'll be called Walter. And I will do it without delay. And it was strong evidence for those, and especially for the Mary and Martha, picture of the resurrection. Well, resurrected man Lazarus, seems like everybody should be happy, right? Not really. There was a group of Pharisees that were not happy. They even tried to kill Jesus and Lazarus. John 12:10, you can read it. You may say, why Lazarus? There's elimination of evidences. There's no evidence, there was no miracle. Easy. Rather than, I found some points very interesting in this event. Let's mention a few. numbers of days, 4 days between death and resurrection. The numbers of witnesses involved in this. There was many witnesses. They were wealthy family. There was not so many other things going on. So they came, they witnessed the evident health of Lazarus after the event. We know that Jesus came just 6 days before crucifixion. Lazarus was present. He was in good health. And there is a significance of this event among the Jews. There was many who knew it. And this miracle shows something as well. Shows Christ's sympathy and power. We may read in John. I have scriptures mentioned, but there is a lot of them. I will just highlight. Another point, manifest purposiveness of these miracles. Gives concrete backing to the truth. Gives opportunity to theological teaching. And they came before Jesus' crucifixion. And when Brother Kerry mentioned it's only in John mention about this event, why not in the others Gospels? The miracle was outside their scope. There's one reason. It was not the leading accusation brought against the Jesus before he was crucified. Hey, let's crucify him because he raised Lazarus. That's even for not smart person look kind of strange. It was indirectly confirmed by the envy and they attribute to Jesus. It did not fit their purpose for writing as the John did. And there is from this few lessons. Lesson of faith. If anything, this is the story of faith. Put yourself in Martha and Mary's shoes. Their brother is on a deathbed, and they are aware that Jesus has the powers to potentially heal their dying brother. And when Jesus calmly chooses to stay a few days, their faith were tested. And I may say seriously tested. This is the problem when we have as well this time, the faith. Second is the lesson of trust. Faith and trust are sometimes treated interchangeable as a complex concept, but it's not always that simple. While we may have faith in God and his power, it can still be hard to trust that he can put us through. Mary and Martha have to trust in God's plan, which sometimes isn't obvious. There is the lesson of sacrifice. After 2 days, Jesus suggested that he and his disciples enter Judea and go to Bethany. The disciples were not happy about this. They said, we read in John 11:8, Rabbi, the Jews were but now seeking to stone thee, and goest thou thither again? Surely Jesus was in the enemy territory. He sacrificed his safety to go to this place. And there is a lesson of care. One thing is noting in the story, because there is a few occasions when we can see emotion from Jesus recorded in the gospel. The shortest verse, Jesus wept. Oh, that's explained a lot. Let's demonstrate how much he cared. Yeah, brother, did you ever had issue with God's timing? I did. We sometimes want everything happened. God's and Jesus' timing sometimes happen too fast. But we need to remember one thing, that God is supreme. God knows what we need, when we need. Brethren, we need to remember this truth and cultivate patience and trust. And this will help us to withstand the storms of life which we have. Lazarus died so that Jesus' power over death would be apparent to his disciples. He was showing them sometimes better than healing. He was providing, he was proving that God had power to raise from death. Jesus explained quite clearly his purpose and was revealed to God's glory. Brethren, I will finish on this, and may God add his blessing to this word spoken. And to this what both brothers spoke and show on the screen, I can say, and I see three persons in this room today. We've been there, we saw the places. I mean, on Israel and places where Jesus did those miracles. Thank you, brother.